From day one of Nomad Capitalist, over all the years that we've been talking, I have said there is a shift going on in the world, that it's becoming more and more difficult to do business in the Western world, that governments there are making it harder and harder for entrepreneurs. And I found an example of a guy running a sandwich shop of all places that to me shows exactly why the West is dying and you should be looking for greener pastures in business. Hey guys, I'm Andrew Henderson, and let me remind you of our 5 magic words here at Nomad Capitalist. Go where you're treated best. You can learn more about how we help business owners and entrepreneurs at nomadcapitalist.com. But I found an article in sfgate.com. It's part of the San Francisco Chronicle, I believe, in San Francisco, that perfectly sums up why you need to be going where you're treated best. Because what I've said for years is it's becoming increasingly harder to start a business, sustain a business, and do business in Western countries like the United States, and in particular, like California, and even more particularly like San Francisco. Now, San Francisco is one of the few U.S. cities I have not been to, but it seems to be a city that, if you look at all the reports, has really gone downhill. Okay, we often talk about how countries, and in this case, cities, are brand names. And so what fascinates me is the entrepreneur I'm going to tell you about, who's done very well. He probably was the descendant of immigrants at some point, as most of us in the United States were, who came seeking to get away from the very stuff he's dealing with now. And so the point of all this is, circumstances change, places change, governments change, times change. But this is the story of a place called Ikes Place. It's started by a gentleman named, of course, Ikes Story. Here's the story from SF Gate. Ikes Place owner explains why he's expanding his empire everywhere except San Francisco. Ikes Place, the little sandwich shop, born and raised in San Francisco, has grown up and no longer feels welcome at home, its owner says. Ike, the man who founded Ikes Place in the Castro, the district in San Francisco, in 2007, closed his flagship store there after the lease expired 2 years ago. He was looking for another place, but the story says now he's given up looking for new location in the city and is moving on to greener pastures. Basically, this is the story of a guy who's started with one sandwich shop, just a regular, everyday entrepreneur. He's now expanded to more than 50 sandwich shops, mostly some of them are in the Bay Area in California, outside of San Francisco. A lot of them are in more business-friendly places in the United States, like Arizona, Nevada, and Texas. And he says he's looking to do more expansion there. He's gone from one shop to 50, but he's given up on the city where he started. Now, I go all around the world, and it is inconceivable to me that somebody would start a sandwich shop in Hong Kong, in central Hong Kong, or in any capital city and really any country around the world outside of the West, and just give up on that city center capital location. But it's become so bad in places like San Francisco and in the West that that's exactly what's happening. I'm trying to find where the article continues. You wouldn't believe what Nancy Sinatra looks like at 80, by the way. There's so many ads here. It's incredible. Anyway, he's looking to expand, and he says that he's doing very well outside of San Francisco. He told SF Gate that high commercial rent combined with permitting gridlock with the city have made the cost of entry into San Francisco too expensive for small business owners. He says small business owners can't wait around while the bureaucrats do their thing. And what he talks about is when he goes even to other cities in California, and certainly to more pro-business places in the United States, he's able to open a sandwich shop in 60 days. There was a quote here. He says, "It took me 2 years to open in San Francisco, and I'm not a dilettante." What a great underused word, by the way, dilettante. People should use that more often. "I know what I'm doing," Ikes Story said. So basically, he can open a store in Oakland, in Arizona, in Texas in 60 days, okay? And when you're running a sandwich shop, you've got to open the shop, you've got to start paying the landlord rent, you've got to set everything up, you've got to carry the costs until you're ready to actually open to the public. And of course, that's all sunk money, right? You're not making any revenue then. But in San Francisco, he said, 2 years to open, and he blames the bureaucrats because there's so many things they have to check. There's so many competing, ABC agencies, and they're not in a hurry. What do they care? He says they really don't care. They don't care about speeding the process up. They don't care about helping. They're actively working against the business owner. Now, here's a guy who's been a success, right? He went from 1 to 50. That's pretty hard to do in any business, let alone a very competitive business like a sandwich shop. But he literally has one store left in San Francisco. And they're saying maybe that one will close down. Basically, he used San Francisco to get his start. And then he expanded, and now San Francisco is no longer useful because they make his life so difficult. And here's what happens in these Western countries. You heard what Obama said. You heard what Barack Obama said. You didn't build that. We helped you build that. You started your first sandwich shop in San Francisco, and now you should owe them for the rest of your life, in these politicians' opinion. That's the attitude, and I imagine that's why it takes 2 years to open a sandwich shop. Now think about it. And now you could say, Andrew, people should be doing consulting businesses, e-commerce, affiliate marketing, whatever. I've made a video on what our clients are doing to make millions online. I don't help people start businesses, but I see what's working for folks. And yes, I don't have many sandwich shop owners coming to me. So you can argue you shouldn't be bricks and mortar anyway, but if you are, it's going to be very difficult in anywhere in the world, especially in a high rent place like California, to keep your shop open for the time that it takes for the bureaucrats. You're literally at the mercy in these places of some government official saying, okay, you can open. And in the meantime, you're burning money on rent. You're burning money on staff. You've invested money into furniture and fixtures and advertising and signage and all of that. You're just hoping to scratch out a profit. You're hoping to provide something of value to the community, and they don't care. Ike says, the system is set up that only established retail brands like Starbucks and McDonald's can withstand the first year or two of rent without generating revenue. The city officials say they don't want that, but who cares what they have to say? Isn't it interesting? For so long, people have said about other countries that, only the oligarchs can survive. Only there's such wealth inequality. Only the rich can take advantage of the corruption. Well, here's a system where corruption or no, we can make our own opinions on that. Only the big brands are able to survive because of the realities. Whether it's just government ineptitude or something more sinister, you can't come in and start a business. Okay? He's saying in other places, they're having an issue with vacancies. It makes it easier. San Francisco's doing the opposite. And so the article continues. You can find it on sfgate.com, and you'll also find out why everyone in Malaysia is talking about this super tough smartwatch. Then you might want to click on that also. But the point is this. It's becoming difficult in the Western countries. California, probably one of the worst places on earth. I spent 7 months living there. They were chasing me down for years after I paid them my final tax bill. They hunt you like whatever kind of animal hunts people. They're terrible. San Francisco, terrible. But I would also posit, Western countries, this is their attitude. They do not like business owners. They think they have it made in the shade. They have plenty of money, or so they think. They do not really care. And the people in their countries are saying, eat the rich, tax the rich, make it difficult to start a business. This guy has 50 sandwich shops. That's part of his problem, by the way. He doesn't get some of the benefits that smaller businesses get because he runs 50 sandwich shops. So instead of rewarding a guy for creating all these jobs, creating locations, adding value to the consumer, they punish him by saying he's too successful. That's the mindset now in the West, and it's why I've been talking about other countries. I can tell you, if you only leave the Western country that you're in, you will find just how easy it is to do business in some of these places. Not everywhere, okay? But, Georgia, for example, we've talked about Georgia. It's on the list of the top 6 or 7 easiest places to do business. Things there are pretty darn easy. They pretty much get out of your way. There are other countries we talk about where it's easy. It's easy to set up a company. Taxes are low. Hiring people is affordable. You can fire them. You don't have to worry about, lawsuits and all these problems that you have in some Western markets, okay? No, nowhere is perfect. And my point here is times change. Now, you might start a business in Georgia, and 5 years from now, maybe that's not the best place, but at least the people in many of these countries want businesses to come. Even if on an individual level, not every politician or not every policy is pro-business, the aggregate sentiment is we want businesses, we want jobs, we want to join the ranks of wealthy countries. Wealthy countries are acting like some bimbo who just expects the gravy train to continue forever. why would you want to start a business there? There are greener pastures, and what I've always said is if you can go from California to Arizona, you can go from Arizona to somewhere else, okay? Once you've realized that the place you're sitting in doesn't work for you, don't ask yourself, well, hey, what's the next worst place? Which place is slightly better? No, go where you're treated best. Not go where you're treated like a little bit better and they don't bother you so much and there's not so many forms. No, go where you're treated best. And I think if you do that, I made a video where I talked about if I was young, I would save up as much money as I could. Do what I did in high school. Work at a restaurant. Save up cash. Go live overseas. Live cheaply. Start some kind of business where there's not 100 sub shops. There are 2 sub shops, or even you're the first sub shop and be the first mover. It's going to be tough. You may have other challenges like getting supplies or stuff like that, but at least you can go somewhere where the government wants you and they're not fighting against you and burning your cash and almost trying to put you out of business. Okay? There are markets where you can do that. Obviously, if you're a little bit older, as I am, or if you're even older, you may not want to go and live in some far-flung market to take advantage of being the first mover. But those who, you can invest in them, by the way. But those who do, you go to Cambodia. There's a coffee shop that for years they said Starbucks will never come and compete because this locally run coffee shop run by a couple of guys is so good. And they were able to take advantage of a market where there was not a coffee shop around. Brown Coffee, you can go and check it out. It's a beautiful place. And so when Starbucks came in, they had to open the world's best looking Starbucks to even try and compete. It's good for consumers. And it's been very good for these guys who started the coffee shop. I don't think they could have done that in San Francisco. This is a call to action that the Western world, it's expensive, the taxes are high, there's a lot of risks. And if you're either starting a business or investing in businesses or looking for a place to go where you're treated best, this is a reminder of what's happening in the Western world today with Ike's Sandwich Shop and many others like it. How can Nomad Capitalist help you? 4 ways. Number 1, subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell to make sure you get our new video every day. Number 2, get a copy of Nomad Capitalist, the book. You'll learn a lot of my personal experiences over a dozen years of studying this stuff, as well as exactly some of the strategies that you can use to build your Nomad Capitalist plan. Number 3, if you're not sure where to start, but you want to come and learn from my team and I, you want to come and mingle with like-minded people, learn more about our live conference, Nomad Capitalist Live. It's coming up soon. And number 4, if you want some help right now because you've got a burning issue, you need something solved, you want to lower your taxes, get a second passport, or build the Nomad Capitalist lifestyle of your dreams, go to nomadcapitalist.com and click on Become a Client.